and we're getting back to OKC. What do you need to share this week on the Thunder Beat?
Oh, well, first of all, they've leaped into first place this week. You know, they're 31-13, 4-game win streak, beat the Timberwolves this past weekend in Minnesota. I just wrote about their defense this week. I mean, their top 5 defense, like, you know, we've kind of nibbled around this conversation, and in some ways it's part of a trade deadline conversation of, like, you know, should they go for it? I know that's been kind of a hot topic. But they just profile as a title contender for many reasons, but including, like, they are a top 5 defense. They're a very young team that defends, gets stops, and it doesn't seem like it's like, you know, smoke and mirrors type stuff. It's like their best players are great defenders. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has 98 steals this season. The next closest guy in the entire league is 64, I believe, is the number. Chet Holmgren is third as a rookie. They have a rookie center anchoring their defense. He has 114 blocks, and it's not just the blocks, it's the rim protection, it's the rim deterrence. I watched like pretty much all his blocks this season, which, by the way, like, name a star in the league, he's already blocked a shot half a season into his career. It's like an unbelievable, you know, like set of film if you just watch the way, you know, he gets some of these blocks, the motor on him. So I was going to bring Andrew in. He's welcome to come in and chat a little bit more about it. But I'm being shameless. I just wanted to plug the story I put up. You know, talk to Mark Dagnall about it. Talk to Chet and you know, just how they're doing this. And it's beyond those two. Which, by the way, it is very good if your two best, you know, most important players look like really good defenders who want to, you know, play both ways. But also Jalen Williams is having a star rise really this month. He can defend well, 7'2" wingspan. Lou Dort is their stopper. And they're just kind of loaded with guys who take that end serious. And, you know, as we talk about joking about having a weekly segment, I mean, like, to me, more and more they're looking like, oh, like, we legitimately might be talking about this team like deep into May.
They also have a lot of really switchable, competitive guys. Yeah. Like even like Aaron Wiggins. I was just blowing up Andrew's phone last night, texting him about Aaron Wiggins, being like, am I crazy, or is Aaron Wiggins like a lot better than a 10th man? Just, he hits his threes when he's out there. He competes on defense. He's long. He guards hard. He's a smart team defender.
Been the better Wiggins in the league this year. I'll say that.
Well, I didn't want to throw a hot take out there, but that was what I texted to the group chat. I said, which Wiggins are you taking? You have to win a game tonight.
Tonight Wiggins. There's an answer for that. The 2022 playoffs, you're taking the other one, but tonight, I know who you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So Andrew just popped on the screen, and I need to ask him something because Sam doesn't want to talk about small stuff like the Washington Wizards. So I'm going to ask about the stars, the huge names, the guy that's such a big name that we need to hyphenate. Such a big name, we need to hyphenate the name, Gilgeous-Alexander. I feel like one of the biggest subtle developments in the league this year is everybody talks about Shai's offense. And it's not that he was some horrific defender before, but he's at a whole other level defensively. And Slater, you notice it. You mentioned it with the steals and that kind of stuff. Off the ball, he has just been really spectacular in terms of, similarly to kind of how he uses his body on offense, he's kind of using that slitteriness to get into passing lanes. He's not really gambling. He's making these incredible team basketball decisions and rotating fast and so well. I mean, Andrew, what's your perspective of Shai's defense and kind of where it used to be to how it's arrived at this like unbelievably high level for anyone, let alone for a guy who has to take on his offensive load?
Yeah, he's just like completely locked in. And I've asked him about this a few times, and part of the answer that he always gives me is that he watches a lot of basketball, and he's like night in, night out. If the Thunder aren't playing, like he's watching. And you have to, one, he's locked in. Two, then you give credit to his teammates on the other side, because like Lou Dort's guarding the best player on the other team. Jalen Williams usually guarding the best like forward, and then obviously you have Chet there, and so it allows him to usually defend guys that aren't doing a whole lot offensively, and he goes for steals. He's number one in the NBA in steals by like a mile. I think he has 98 right now. The guy who's second in the league in total steals is Matisse Thybulle, who has 30 less than him. So it's like this giant margin with what he's doing, and I think some of it is just his competitive nature too. I think that he just wants to get this team out in transition all the time. He knows that the goal of this team, the way the Thunder are successful, is they play fast and they get turnovers. And that's how you can get away with playing small and losing the rebounding battle night after night after night. And people are going to point to that, oh, they need a big, they need to do this, they need to do that. But part of the reason that this is working so well and that the offense and the defense is great is they turn teams over a lot. And Shai, on the other side of it, he's getting all these steals. He just doesn't turn the ball over. I think he's had 3 is the most turnovers he's had since like October. I mean, he just doesn't turn the ball over. And so it's like a combination of those two things that like help this Thunder team be efficient on both ends. But defensively, I agree. He's completely locked in and understands what his role is within the defense.
Dagnall made an interesting point when I was talking to him about, and I like the Thunder love to reference the last few years, right? This isn't just like, hey, we arrived this season. It's like so much of what they did the last few years was informative and helpful. And he made the point that actually the season he was an assistant, it was Billy Donovan's last year, the Chris Paul season. Because they had Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, like Shai was basically their 3. And he was like, Shai wasn't only the 3, but Danilo Gallinari was the 4. So Shai was like the wing stopper on that team. And, completely different role than he currently has. But he's like, yeah, I think that really helped. Like, when you talk about his defensive growth, like there was a time in his career where he was our small forward who like, hey, go, guard LeBron, even though you're a second-year type player. And it like, again, like they love to be like, that matters. That matters today, the fact that he did that then.